Studio, Sri Lanka.
Ayubowan, good evening. Going live from the National News Studio of Rupavahini, this is the news. My name is Clifford Richards, together with Dulanjali Ananda.
The second main city of Ukraine comes under Russian forces. The Ministry of Energy says there is sufficient stocks of fuel for next week. The Prime Minister says an equal development is taking place in the entire country. More rains are expected the first week of next month. A person who has fallen ill while on top of a tree has been rescued. China sends 22 satellites to outer space.
Now, before we start on the local stories, we are going to focus our attention on the top international story which has gained the attention of the world over. Now, the Ukrainian-Russian crisis is kind of deepening by the hour, by the day, and come Sunday, it marks 5 days of massive air, land and sea invasion by Russian troops on Ukraine, and still we do not have any kind of indication about a ceasefire or any kind of indication about talks, and we have an in-depth report of that crisis right now.
Ukrainian troops are back in control of the Kharkiv after Russian troops entered Ukraine's second largest city earlier. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin hails his country's special forces for their work in Ukraine.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a special address, congratulated the members of special forces, saying they fought heroically in Ukraine, while the Kremlin insisted it was ready for talks with Kiev. Saturday marked the fourth day of a massive land, sea and air invasion ordered by President Vladimir Putin. Turned out to be Russia's biggest military deployment since World War II and has resulted in hundreds of casualties. Russian ground forces have pressed into Ukraine from the north, east and south, but have encountered fierce resistance from Ukrainian troops, the intensity of which has likely surprised Moscow, according to Western sources. Street fighting has broken out in Ukraine's capital, Kiev, as Russian forces advanced on the city and Ukrainian officials urged residents to take shelter.
This video obtained by Reuters shows the moment a residential building.
Ukrainian officials reported success in fending off assaults, but fighting persisted near the capital. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky refused an American offer for him to evacuate, insisting that he would stay in Kiev. The fight is here, he said yesterday. Meanwhile, Russia has unleashed a wave of attacks on Ukraine, targeting fuel facilities and airfields in what appears to be the next phase of an invasion that has been slowed by fierce resistance. Huge explosions lit up the sky early today in south of the capital, Kiev, where people hunkered down in underground shelters and the government maintained a 39-hour curfew in anticipation of a full-scale assault by Russian forces. Flames billowed into the sky before dawn from an oil depot near an airbase near Kiev, where there has been intense fighting, and another explosion occurred at the civilian airport. Ukraine's defense minister hails his country's resistance, saying the world doubted them. In the meantime, the Ukrainian president has rejected negotiations with Russia in Belarus, which has allowed Russian troops passage to pro-Western Ukraine. The United Nations has said that almost 400,000 people have fled Ukraine since the invasion started. More than 150,000 people have entered Poland since the start of the conflict, while more than 43,000 Ukrainians fled to Romania. The European Union, the United States and their allies have agreed to cut off a number of Russian banks from the main international payment system, SWIFT. The assets of Russia's central bank will also be frozen, limiting Russia's ability to access its overseas reserves. The intention is to further isolate Russia from the international financial system, a joint statement said. Russia is heavily reliant on the SWIFT system for its key oil and gas exports. The joint sanctions are the harshest measures imposed to date on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin has been suspended as honorary president of the International Judo Federation following Russia's war on Ukraine. The International Olympic Committee has urged sports bodies to cancel or move all events they plan to hold in Russia and Belarus and to stop using the country's flags and national anthems. The request from the Olympic body came after the Union of European Football Associations moved the Champions League final from St. Petersburg to suburban Paris, and after the governing bodies of skiing and Formula One pulled upcoming races from Russia. UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has suggested the Russian invasion of Ukraine could mark the beginning of the end for Vladimir Putin, as she warned the conflict could last a number of years.
We've heard from Putin himself that he is sending in troops. We don't yet have the full evidence that has taken place. What we are expecting, and this has been confirmed by the Americans as well as by the United Kingdom, is a full-scale invasion, including potentially of Kiev.
Now, this crisis, Dhulanjali, not only affects Ukraine, but also it has a rippling effect on the entire world and the world economy, not forgetting our very own Sri Lanka as well. Because the government has paid its its fullest attention on extending the visa of Ukrainian tourists who have not been able to return to their country due to the Russia and Ukraine clash.
Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said future steps will be taken considering the end of the visa period. 4,000 Ukrainian tourists and 11,500 Russian tourists are staying in the country at present.
Well, we're moving on to local stories now. Now, the Public Utilities Commission says that a power cut of 4 hours and 40 minutes will be imposed on several zones tomorrow. The Commission said a power cut of 5 hours and 15 minutes will be imposed on some other areas as well.
Accordingly, power will be curtailed for 4 hours and 40 minutes in A, B, C zones. The Commission said that a power interruption of 5 hours and 15 minutes will take place in P, Q, R, S, T, U, V and W zones. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says there was no other era before, as now where Sri Lanka is being developed without limiting to one province. The Prime Minister mentioned this while attending the function to vest with the people Kirama Katuwana integrated integration scheme and Kirama bus stand.
Kirama Katuwana irrigation scheme was implemented under funds from Austrian, Sri Lanka governments and National Water Supply and Drainage Board under the program to provide clean drinking water to everyone. The project will meet drinking water needs of 34 Grama Seva divisions. A new water purification plant has been built at Velandagoda by taking water from the Kirama Reservoir in Varapitiya. More than 20,000 will get drinking water through the new water plant. Drinking water will be provided by laying water pipes for 24 metres along Walasmulla, Kirama Katuwana and Middeniya Road. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister vested with the public the Kirama bus stand, constructed at a cost of 40 million rupees. The constructions were launched under Mahinda Chintana Puranaguma project. The constructions had been completely stopped by the Good Governance government. The new government completed constructions of the bus stand with 6 trade stalls. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that development activities not only in this area but the entire country had been stopped. They had been stopped to take revenge. But actually they have taken revenge from the people in Hambantota, Munaragala districts and from the people in the country. Since the government came to power, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa directed the country towards development. The development activities were not limited to one province but implemented throughout the country. Minister Chamal Rajapaksa said that plans were made to provide 120 megawatts of power by November 2015 by constructing 20 kilometers of Umaoya tunnel and building the underground power plant. But the Good Governance government stopped the project. Still, it has not been completed. It is expected to generate electricity by May.
විදුලිය උත්පාදනය කරන්න. එතකොට මේ ලයිට් කපන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒවා නොකරපු නිසා තමයි මේ තමුන්නාන්සලා අද පැය ගණන් ලයිට් නැතුව අන්ධකාරයේ ඉන්න හදන්නේ. ඒවා කරපු අය අද පෙළපාලියන. ඒක තමයි කනගාටුව.
Minister Namal Rajpaksha, State Minister Sanat Nishanta and a group of people were present at the occasion.
Well, moving on with more local stories, the SLFP Polonnaru District General Conference took place this morning at the Pulasti Buddhi Mandape under the patronage of party chairman and former President Maithripala Sirisena. Well, the theme of this conference is Pattere. The theme of this conference is Pannare Hariyatata, parliamentarians and regional politicians representing SLFP attending the conference. Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that farmers are having various problems related to their living conditions. The former president said that he had handed over a beautiful country without problems. SLFP member and former Chief Minister of the North Central Province, Peshala Jayaratna, expressed his views about the conference. Well, he said that what is important for the SLFP is not holding general conferences, but to assist to find solutions to the present crisis by holding discussions with government leaders as a party in the government. However, they make various statements while being in the government and getting all privileges, he said.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramna Women's Bala Mandala meeting of Kegal Electoral Division took place today at Kegal Urban Council. It was held under the patronage of Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi. A large group of women, members of the party, were present on the occasion. State Minister Tharaka Balasurya has organised the meeting.
Now, the Savanagala sugarcane farmers have imposed and proposed to the authorities to increase the price of a kilogram of sugarcane. However, the management of the sugarcane factory says that the price cannot be increased due to the prevailing situation. Well, the Savanagala Govisetha Joint Sugarcane Farmers Association recently said that they would not give their harvest to the Savanagala Lanka Sugar Company until the price of a ton of sugarcane is increased by 2,000 rupees. State Minister Janaka Wakkumbara expressed his views about the issue. He said that the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, after assuming duties in 2019, sugarcane price of Palavatta and Savanagala farmers was increased by 500 for 1 ton in 2020. 250 have been increased in 2021 and 500 rupees have been increased from January 2022. Accordingly, the State Minister said that the price has been increased by 1,250 rupees during those 2 years. The management of Savanagala Sugar Factory said that everyone should act with an understanding at this moment.
The Met Department says there will be more rains in the first week of next month. Director General of Meteorological Department Atula Karunanayaka said it is due to a disturbance in the lower atmosphere of the southeast of the country. Director General of Meteorological Department Atula Karunanayaka said they expect more rains in the country due to the effect. It will affect North, North Central, East, Uva, Hambantota and Mathale districts. There can be rains or thunder showers in the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern and central provinces.
Well, moving on with more local stories. Now, moving on to the COVID situation. Now, the entire world has definitely commended the actions and efforts taken by Sri Lanka in combating and effectively controlling the COVID pandemic in Sri Lanka. In those lines, amended guidelines have been issued for tourists who are arriving in the country from the 1st of next month. And PCR or rapid antigen tests are not required for persons who are arriving in the country after 2 weeks of full vaccination. Well, accordingly, getting the
recommended number of doses relevant to those countries are sufficient. Children who are 18 years or less will be considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after getting 1 dose. Children who are 12 years and above who have not been vaccinated should get a PCR or rapid antigen test report. Further information can be obtained by logging into www.runews.lk website.
Consultant family physician Dr. Malkanti Galhina made remarks over the expansion of the home-based care system. Speaking at a media briefing, she also emphasized on the importance of the booster vaccine program in the country.
We have expanded the home-based care treatment system, which was initiated from the Ministry of Health, to provide the care for more patients, because with this Omicron, the virus spreading the disease very fast, to accommodate the patients with even the mild symptoms or moderate symptoms. For the people within the age limit 2 years and up to 65 years, you can directly enter into the system by dialing through 1390. It's a direct dialing system. So that is a very much safer system. No need for you all to go to the hospitals or waiting without getting treatment from a doctor. Straight away from your own house, you can enter into the system to get this treatment for the nasty disease. So far, we have noticed that only 46% of total population of Sri Lanka has taken the third dose vaccine against the COVID infection. So this is a booster, the vaccination. The daily we are getting still, even though we have provided this vaccine third dose and all the health measures have been given, still the around 25 to 30 patients are dying of disease. These are the deaths only. There are so much of complications. The patients with complications have been entered to the hospital and they are suffering with severe complications, which is not reported to the public. So because of that, think about the seriousness of this illness as well as the suffering that the people and the close the family members or the friends are getting. So because of that, having measures that you can take to prevent this disease, it's in vain for our people to suffer with this disease. So because of that, please be mindful to get this third dose booster vaccine without any delay, thinking about the importance of your life as well as your loved ones' lives.
Well, a large number of farmers have cultivated using organic fertilizer island-wide. It is reported that they have received a successful harvest. Well, 24 farmers of Murugakanda Thorapitiya village commenced a kurakkang cultivation of 50 acres. They said that they used organic fertilizer on the instructions of the field officers of the Mahavali authority. The harvesting is taking place at present. The government has taken steps to purchase a kilogram of kurakkang for 650 rupees. Well, meanwhile, harvesting of paddy has commenced at Asikulam, Kovilkulam and Komasankulam areas of the Vanni district. Organic fertilizer has been used for these cultivations.
Our main news bulletin telecast a new report about Director of Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, Dr. Dulan Samaravira, who produced bioorganic fuel using castor seeds. He has produced bioorganic fuel as a result of a research conducted by him 15 years ago. Minister S.M. Chandrasen inspected the production process yesterday. Biodiesel is produced by a mixture of castor seeds. Glycerin is received as a byproduct of the production process, which can be used by beauticians. Efficiency of biodiesel is 20% more than the normal diesel. A minimum quantity of carbon dioxide is released to the environment when biodiesel is used. Dr. Dulan Samaravira said that it can be used as a solution for the fuel crisis.
Well, that's very inviting and interesting. And with that, we are moving on to more local stories in brief.
The book Sirimal Saha Kurulupatiya, written by Lensi Aparakka for the program Ratak Patina Putik Duek Ratak Patina Putak Livima, was launched yesterday. The program has been organized on a concept of Minister Dallas Salha Peruma. Minister Dallas Salha Peruma said that she has written 3 books. She is 12 years old. She has no place to stay as elephants have broken her house. The father is a labourer. Divyanjali, making a speech, said that she gets courage when she sees the cement-touched legs of her father when he comes home in the evenings. In Western countries, children such as Divyanjali are called gifted children. We accept that all children are talented. The entire society gets together to take forward such children. The book, Vyavasaya Katveta Nava Praveshya, written by Dr. Tishara Jayawardena, was launched recently. Minister Sarath Veerasekara, Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne, Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation Chairman Sonala Gunawardena, and a group of people were present on the occasion. A group of investors from Russia arrived in the country from Bandaranaike International Airport this morning. They are scheduled to hold discussions with the President and the Prime Minister on investment opportunities at the port city and supporting educational activities of the country.
Now, Lindela police have brought down a person who has fallen ill on top of a tree, which is 200 feet in height. He has fallen ill when he climbed the eucalyptus tree to cut its branches. Balachandran Adishya Kumar of Lindela Lamaria estate has fallen ill when he climbed the tree. Family members said that he fell ill along with the torrential rains which occurred while he was cutting branches. Thereafter, Lindela police, with the support of villagers, have brought down the person with the help of a rope. He has been admitted to the hospital. It is reported the operation took about 3 hours. That's it on local news. Stay tuned for international news coming up next.
Well, on that sad note, it's time to end the news. And do watch us tomorrow at the same time. And until then, have a good night and enjoy the rest of the programs. Take care and good night.